I'm Anil Kumar sharing with you some test questions on powers or exponents for our middle school students. We'll take up three questions. Question number 1. Calculate each power 2 to the power of 4, 3 square, 0.1 cube and 100 to the power of 3. Question number 2. A line segment AB represents distance of 2 to the power of 10. What distance will be represented by the segment AC if C is the midpoint of AB? Question number 3. Sam lined up his posters on the wall according to size. The first poster is 1.00 meters. The second is 0.8 of that height. And third is 0.8 of the second poster. The fourth poster is 0.8 of the third. What is the height of the fourth poster? You can always pause the video, answer this question, and then look into my suggestions. Now let's begin with question number 1. So let me write answer for question number 1 here. We need to know what is 2 to the power of 4. In expanded form, you could write this as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, right? So 2 is the base, 4 is the power. So it really means is repeated multiplication. So you have to multiply 2 by itself 4 times as shown here. So 2 times 2 is 4, 8 and then 16. So we get 2 to the power of 4 as 16. Then we have 3 square. So 3 square means what? It is not 6. It is 3 times 3, which is equal to 9, okay? 0.1 cube. Now this is tricky. When we multiply 0.1 with itself, then we get a higher or a lower number. That is what we are going to see. So it is 0.1 times 0.1 times 0.1. Now we need to put 3 decimal places. 1 time 1 time 1 is 1. But since we are multiplying decimal numbers, we need 3 decimal places. But here, we are going to introduce zeros to get those decimal places, right? So decimal is here, 1, 2, and 3. You see what you get. So you get 0.001. So it's a much smaller number. So at times, when you find the powers, if the number is less than 1, the power of that number becomes much smaller. Now we have 100 cube. What is that equal to? You can actually pause the video at this stage, find cube of 100 and match your solution. So 100 cube will be 100 times 100 times 100. So when you multiply these sets, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. That is 1 million, right? So 1,000, 1 million. So 100 cube is 1 million. Perfect. Now here are 2 other questions for you. One is, what is 10 to the power of 0 equal to? And what is 5 to the power of 1 equal to, right? So these are the test questions for you. Anything to the power of 1 will be that thing itself. So 5 to the power of 1 is going to be 5. And anything to the power of 0 is what? I hope you got it. Anything to the power of 0 is just 1. Okay. So this is very important to remember. Now let's move on and answer the second question. The line segment AB represents distance of 2 to the power of 10. So let me draw a segment here. Let's say this is my segment, which I am saying from A to B. Let's say this is 0. Then this position is 2 to the power of 10. What distance will be represented by the segment AC if C is the midpoint? So I'm taking C here right in the center. It is a midpoint. That means it is half away from AB, right? So C is midpoint. It means what? half of AB. Do you see that? So if I do half of 2 to the power of 10, what do I get? That is what the answer is. So we can say that A to C is equal to half of A to B. Basically half of 2 to the power of 10. What will that be? Right? 2 to the power of 10 is 10 twos. When you take away 1, you get 2 to the power of 9. Correct? 1 less 2. So that is what it is. It is a very interesting question. So the answer here is 2 to the power of 10. Half is going to be 2 to the power of 9. Perfect. Now, for example, you know what is 2 to the power of 4? We found it is 16. Right? Half of 16 is 8, which is equal to 2 to the power of 3, 1 less than 4. Did you see that? So that is good to remember. So I hope you could register very well now with this simple example. The last question here is an application. It says, Sam lined up his posters on the wall according to size. The first poster is 1 meter. The second is 0.8 of that height. So let us say first one we have this, which is 1 meter, right? So this one is 1 meter. The second one is not as tall, but it is kind of 0.8 times 1. So it is equal to, second is 0.8 of that height. So second is 0.8 of that height. The third one is slightly smaller, and this is 0.8 times this one. So that means we get 0.8 square. And the fourth one will be what? It is even smaller by 0.8 times. It is 0.8 cube. So what you get here is that each time a poster is placed, it is 0.8 times the original, right? That is what it means when we say that second is 0.8 of that height, right? So 1 times 0.8. This is 0.8 times. So this is, at this stage, you could think that we are writing here 1 times 0.8. And at this stage, we are writing 1 times 0.8 times 0.8. And then the last stage, which is the fourth one, we are writing 1 times 0.8 times 0.8 times 0.8. Now that is what 0.8 cube is. Perfect. So our answer here is that the fourth poster is 0.8 cube meter high. Perfect. So that is how you're going to write down the answer. Now if you have to calculate, you could multiply 0.8 times 0.8. We get 0.64. Remember, you have to put 2 decimal places. Now if I again multiply this by 0.8, now I get the 0.8 cube. So 8 times 6, 8 times 4 is 32. 2, 3. 8, 6, 48 and 3 is 51. I have to put 3 decimal places, so approximately 0.512 meters high. Perfect. You could use calculator. So you can say or equals to 0.512 meters. So that is how we could solve this question. I hope you found it interesting and useful. Feel free to write your suggestions and comments. And if you really like my videos and subscribe to them, that will be great. Thanks for watching and all the best.